All right, guys, welcome back to Kamisha Reviews. I have a special treat in the back. Without any further ado, I want to bring to the stage the winner of Big Brother this season. How are you doing, Jag? Congratulations, first of all, and thank you for coming through. Yes, yes, yes. Let's go.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And I'm doing great. How are you doing, Kamisha?
I am doing awesome. So happy that I got the king to come on here with the queen of the spaces. Okay.
All right.
First of all, this is a wonderful situation for all races because I feel like that the diversion is a beautiful thing. How has it hit you since you have been out of the house?
It's been a whirlwind for sure. Because I was in the house for 100 days, and that's a long
Mm.
time to even be in the house and to be away from the outside world. And so, adjusting back to outside life has been a big transition. My most important thing, even on the show, I talked a lot about my family and my friends and my loved ones. So I've been spending a lot of time with them. They're the people that are most important in my life, and so that's definitely helped. Just like seeing them again and everything, because I miss them so much. And yeah, but it's definitely a whirlwind. It's fun though. I'm enjoying it.
Well, you're probably having like 1,005 interviews. So I'm like wondering how in the world are you dealing with this is Jag, this is Jag. How are you dealing with it? Because you're a gentleman and you're handling this very well outside, but like inside, are you screaming?
Honestly, it's not bad at all.
Okay.
I've had a lot of interviews, but I'm happy to talk about my experience with other folks. I know other folks want to talk to me about my experience, and um, it's literally just the life I lived for the last 100 days, and so that
Mm.
naturally is what I'm talking about too. And with my friends, it's a little different too. With my friends and family, I want to know everything about them, right? Like the 100 days passed for me, but 100 days also passed for everyone else, and life
Oh
went on
wow.
for them. And so, just catching up with them on what's going on. But I'm super happy to, chat and have interviews and talk about what was going on and my headspace and all of that.
Yeah, speaking of that, let's speak about your game. In the beginning, I do feel like that you took a laid back, so to speak, game wise, and then I feel like, and I said it during the season, when it came to the right time for you to react and when you did that. Was that your game going in? Did you intentionally intend to play that way?
It was not intentional in terms of like the switch that happened. That was more so me adapting to what was
Mm.
happening around me in the game as well. In the beginning of the game, I was thinking a lot about representation. I knew I was the first sick on the show. I knew I was representing my community, and I wanted to play a game with a lot of loyalty and integrity. And so, but what I realized is if I'm loyal to everyone, I'm loyal to no one. And I was doing that a lot at the beginning of the game where, I had made promises with my alliance, for instance, that I wouldn't put them up. I would go to the end with them. And even though I knew that they were working with other people, my hands were sort of tied because I had told them I was going to go to the end with them. And I meant that. Um, when the switch up essentially happened, I found out my alliance wasn't loyal to me. I got voted out. I also found out
Mhm.
my alliance was never real. It wasn't loyal to me. All of that happened, and that's when I had to adapt and say, look, I can still play a loyal game, and I can just choose who I want to stay loyal to. And that person became Matt for me, and so I decided, well, I'm going to stay true to who I am, play a game with integrity, and stay loyal to him, but also with everyone else, it's just game on, right? Like, let's just play this game that we all signed up for, this game that we love, and we'll just see what happens from there.
A lot of the game, most of the time, Big Brother, there's always a little controversy here and there. And one of the things that I love about you, Jag, I said that I feel like that when you get out the house, that I feel like you are going to look back at yourself and take your own accountability for whatever things you saw that you didn't, whatever. One of the few things I want to touch on about was the cooking situation was a big thing.
Mm.
because of the women that was in the house. And I feel like a lot of it's education. A lot of people do not know that, black women cooking was such a negative thing, cooking for other people. And I'm sure they loved it and everything else. But the outside looking in, people did make a big deal about it, including myself. And I was curious to know, because you're inside, you don't know what we're saying, obviously.
Yeah.
Coming outside the house, and hearing some of these things, what was your reaction to that?
Yeah, I think there's so much like context that we miss, and
Hmm.
I fully see like from the outside looking in how a lot of these things that inside the house we don't see or we wouldn't even think of, how other people can perceive it that way. Um, but in the house, definitely like Mama Fee, for instance, loves cooking. She's really passionate about that, and she would talk about that a lot of the time too, with me and with other people. How she loves cooking and she loves the family style dinners that we would have, and that's a big part of her life in general. And she would make jokes about it too, all the time. I think one of the times she was on the block, and she literally came to me, made a joke. She's like, "Hey, you should keep me because I cook really well," and like we were laughing about it, and it was so sort of a joke, and she really embraced like her passion for that, and so
Right.
I never saw it as anything beyond that. But again, that's context based because I was in the house. These are just like people that I have, real relationships with, and that's sort of what was going on there. Coming to the outside, I definitely see how people can perceive it in different ways, and how without actually being in the house, without that
Mm.
context, without those actual personal relationships,
Hmm.
it can be a larger theme, for lack of better words, or a larger message or something. And I own up to that and stuff too, because I see that even in the house things may happen, and we're just treating it as like just personal relationships, but because so many people are watching, it could speak to larger things, even if that wasn't what was top of my mind or top of other folks' mind in the house.
Wow. I love how you explain that, because we're not in the house and we're just watching it from the outside, fan bloggers or whatever. And I love how you said that, because no, we looked at it that way, but on the inside, you guys didn't look at it in that way. It was more of a personal thing. So as far as at the end, it seemed like it got a little nasty at the end. And I know that it's gameplay, it's survival of the fittest. I do know that. Would you have any regrets towards the end, including the situation with Matt, because that was a thing too, saying he shouldn't keep Matt. He ruined this game. I know you heard all that came out the house. So how did that hit you? Because you were being loyal, but everyone else thought it was a bad gameplay.
To keep Matt at the very end. Yeah.
Yes.
And to be very clear, and I've talked about this too, like keeping Matt was not a game move, and I knew
Mm,
that, and that's why it was such a big decision, and that's why it was such a heavy decision for me,
mm,
because I knew that the game move that I felt I should make, if I wanted the best chances, maybe, is to not keep Matt. I think he played an incredible social game. He had great relationships with a lot of the folks in the jury, and I thought that if I kept him, I would lose, and that there was a really strong chance of me losing, and I knew it would be an uphill battle. But keeping him was more so a moral decision that I made, and
wow.
that was me. I knew it was the right thing to do. During week 4, when he used the power to save me, that week, I truly did pray for an answer. I prayed for um, something,
Mm,
and the way I see it, like he's the one who saved me. He answered those prayers, and I made a commitment to him then that I would go to the very end with him, to the very last minute. And
wow.
even though I knew that, look, this might be a $750,000 decision, I might just be throwing it to him, but I wanted to be able to look back at the game I played and the person that I was, and hold my head up high, be proud of the decisions I made, make my family proud, make my community proud, because that ultimately um, is more important to me, because I knew that it, it was a life changing moment with
Mm,
the amount of money that was
yes.
at hand, but I didn't want it to be a character changing moment.
100%. With your community, you spoke about your Sikh community. I think that's a beautiful thing, obviously, and a person of color. Did you feel like there was a lot on your shoulders because of that? Because you were the first. Did you feel like, oh my God, this is a lot? I'm just not just playing for myself, my family. I'm playing for this whole entire community. So how heavy was that?
Yeah, I mean, that was top of mind all the time. Coming in, the reason I played the game how I did is because of that as well. I wanted to be so loyal. I wanted to have integrity, and that's something that I was keenly aware of throughout the game because I knew that even if I wanted to just be myself and not represent my community, that's not a
Mhm.
choice that I get to have. That's not a choice that many people of color or many people from these communities
Mhm.
have. It's a matter of fact. It is how it is, and that's not something that's unique to me being in the Big Brother house. I can walk outside right now, and I'm representing more than just myself, and so
Yes.
it's something I was used to, and I knew the weight of
Mm.
that. But suddenly being on this platform where I'm in the Big Brother house, there's a lot of people that are watching. The weight just multiplied um, by a lot, and so it's always existed, as I'm sure it has for a lot of folks. It was just the gravity of it had increased.
Tell me, how are you dealing with the negative feedback? I know we don't know everything. I'm pretty sure there is some. How are you dealing with that? And I know obviously you're religious. You said prayer, which I love. I'm a very religious and faithful person, so prayer does work. But social media can be nasty. So
Yeah,
how are you dealing with that?
yeah. I, I'm grateful that I've gotten a lot of overwhelmingly positive support and love from people. And with anything that's negative, I'm a big component of learning. So if there's something in any of the negative feedback that I can learn from and hold myself accountable for, then that's the most important thing there. I know that some feedback is going to be just whatever it is, not based in anything that I can really grow from, but any way in which like I can become a better man every day, I think that's the most important aspect of feedback.
Oh my God, Jack! I did look. I'm telling you, when we talked about you in space. I said, Jack seems like such a guy that's so genuine that even if it is negative, he's going to turn to a positive. I was completely correct about that. So tell me one thing that's positive that happened since you got the house that you didn't expect.
Since I have gotten out of the house, you said?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that I've really loved is the positive support that I've gotten from kids. Like such a big part of this for me was like
Mm,
I didn't grow
wow.
up seeing someone who looked like me on the screen. And that is so huge, right? It was always for the kids. Like I talk about my community, my people, my family, but kids always have a special place in my heart, because they're so precious and they're just like watching and they just want to see someone who represents them and seeing people kids or like different families reach out to me saying like, hey, it meant the world to my kid who's also Punjabi, who's also Sikh, and they saw you and they look up to you now and they talk about you and suddenly now they're more confident in their own identity. That is something that I'm so honored and humbled and grateful that I could play that role
Mm,
in these kids' lives
beautiful.
because that's huge.
Wow, that is a beautiful. I have enjoyed having this conversation with you, Jag. I see why you are the winner, not just because of the things you've done in the game. I thought you was very intelligent. At the very, very end, when you were, that last HOH, and I saw you trying to figure it out, and I talked about this in my space. I said I had so much respect for him watching him figure that out. Nobody helped him. He got together and I just couldn't do nothing but respect his win. So I respect you and everything that you accomplished. Thank you for answering my questions. I do appreciate it. Hopefully, one day in the future, you can pop into one of my spaces. If you can, that would be awesome. If you can't, I don't care because you came on my channel and graced me with your presence. So, King, I appreciate you and thank you for your time, sir. I do,
Thank
really
you
do.
so much. Thank you so much. I'm
Guys,
honored that
guys,
you
I
invited
am
me.
so happy I got to have the king come on my platform. With that being said, Kamisha Reviews is out. Be blessed. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.